And we are live. Oh, that just right. All right. Pete, welcome.
Hey, John, how's it
Yeah.
going?
You know, feels like the same old, same old. Just,
I know.
just making it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the world these days, right? I got
Yeah.
my quarantine stubble going here. You know what I mean? my
Yeah.
my staying at home look.
Yeah. Staying at home. Look.
My hair's getting shaggy.
Yeah.
Right, you got the crew cut going, right? So you
I know it's getting
went
to
the
that
other
point
way
where
with it.
I'm gonna need to cut it back again. I got so now I got my own clippers, so I can actually do it on my own without having. Well, I can do it without having to go and try to get some from somebody. But yeah. So we are here today on Hopper Day.
Hopper day.
Um, I wanted to just want to make sure that the bot is running. So I see the bot is up,
Yeah, I saw
but
the fireworks shoot on the stream.
oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah, just well the startup one, right? The one that just pops off.
yeah,
There it goes. Oh yeah.
cool. All right, awesome. Wasn't sure if they were. Remember, I think we had something weird going on last time where it wasn't quite working.
Yeah, it was. There was something up. Through a multi. Okay, yeah. So they're
Yeah,
all
it's kind of it's cool, and I can hear the sound going on, so it's definitely working.
nice.
Yeah. All right, good. Volume's adjusted. Yeah, it's like Stream OBS did something weird, man. Like Streamlabs all of a sudden like unset a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I know. That happens all the time. Like, how many times did we get together? You know, it's like, all right, well, let's do a sound check. What? How did that? What? Where's the filter? Who to what?
Yeah, very
All the
strange.
channels get weird. Yeah, it's like you got a ghost in that computer.
So, yeah, I know. I gotta sit down and get the other system set up so I can hopefully get it all done through just using regular OBS. Well, one of these days. So,
Yeah, I was actually. Oh, go
what's
ahead.
that? No, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was actually thinking that I actually fired up OBS on my laptop here yesterday, I think it was, and had like a million updates and stuff, so I didn't actually get to run it. But I'm fully updated now.
Yeah, well,
So
because that would be good actually. Because if I can get all this stuff set up on it, then I could just share you those files, and you could open them up, and basically you should be able to do the stream.
right,
If
we had
if
talked about it before. Yeah.
so, we can get that into a share somewhere so that we can do it that way.
All right. So
Yeah.
when last we met, I believe we were talking
Claims
about
office.
claims office.
Yeah. So
Being able to buy claims.
yeah. So we actually now have the claim office. No, claims
Claims, maybe?
office. Ah, it is claims
Yes.
office. All right. So, uh,
Yeah, there was like an inventory command or something like that. There we
it
go.
was
Claims.
claims. Yeah. So we kind of had these. These were hard coded in the code to just drop something in there. So
Right.
we want to have something that's going to spin them out, kind of drop out new claims. But I think if we can get these working and then apply it to one of to our stuff, I think that would be good. I think we need to kind of step through what that's going to look like.
We started to do that last week. We
Yeah.
started to get a sense of what this gameplay, like how it will come off, right? And we sort of, I remember kind of discovering some things as we went through there. It was like, oh yeah, how's that going to work?
Yeah, because I think what. Yeah. So part of the problem, right? So right now we'd have to go and then we'd have to buy diggers.
Mhm.
We would have to buy claims. And then when we would equip a digger, not only would we have to give it a name, but we'd need to also give it a claim.
Right.
Um,
And then we were talking about where do they go? Like, do they go in your bag just like a digger, or do we have some other right, like what's up with that?
Right. Yeah.
Because like you know how like your running diggers are kind of in a separate place on the miner object. So that might so I don't know, but we had talked about there might be a difference in the way that we treat the claims because you don't they're not going to stack that way.
Yeah, they don't stack. Yeah.
And we also talked about some economy stuff as well. I'm just trying to like rehash some different things that we talked about some of the claims they may cost like rent sort of thing because we had the lease versus buy, so they may tick off tokens per unit of time, which we don't really have a concept of
Right.
in
Right.
the game. So these are some of the issues that we have been discussing and kind of working through. Um, And
Yeah.
then I think, and so like those IDs there on the list, right? So they're really that's like a menu index more so than an item ID, right? Like we
Right.
recycle them every time is the intention.
That would, yes, that's the intention. Right. So, can we? I think we can do. Oh, we can just do like this by one. So we didn't actually have it working, right? Because that's why it says attempting to buy one. So at least
Yeah,
it
that's like
identifies.
how we knew the code ran, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we can do that. Um, yeah, we're gonna need to have like some kind of claim storage for the game, right? So we need to have claim storage. Um, we need to update. We're gonna then need to update the equip digger.
Right. Now is that just the way the diggers are going to work now? Or are we going to have because we talked about like maybe the first level like diggers like we have now kind of just come with the mine site on and we might leave that in the game.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think we should. But
Right?
so
Because it's good to lead the player through and like have the complexity grow at a more gradual rate than have too much
right.
to juggle right at once. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we can do that by on the equip digger. We can make it so that the claim isn't something you can do until claims are available. So we would want to be able to like hide claims.
Right. Like even the
Um,
store in general, right? Like the whole office isn't
yeah,
even
yeah, the
available.
whole thing to make it so like all of a sudden have something pop up and be like, "Hey, you now have a claims office available," kind of a
Right,
thing.
based on some kind of an event or threshold that you crossed or
Yeah,
amount of time you played. And that
yeah,
timing thing, that back to the timing again. So as we put this stuff in here, we really do need to marshal control of how time works in our game because we
yeah.
don't.
Um,
We have a sense of a tick, but we don't have a sense of you get billed per month for your claim kind of time.
no, no, we definitely don't. We
Like
definitely
so, yeah. So you don't have the as in the gameplay. There's no we don't take control or ownership of what time means. We have the like we have ticks, so that's how we know how often to do the digs, and we were going to be able to make them dig faster or slower or more or less. Remember? So
don't. Yep.
yeah, so we have that, but we don't have how many ticks or how many whatever equal a game day, for instance,
Yeah.
a game world day.
Well, I mean, the question is, do we do it as a game world day, or do we actually just do it as actual time? Or we just say, it's every 24 hours, and it's every whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like we can actually do it in actual time. I
So we could do it like every 4 minutes.
mm-hmm.
Your rents do. Okay.
That was one of those things. Like that's kind of how they do it on a lot of those. I don't even know what you call them. I guess they could
Yeah.
be RTS type games.
Yeah, or economy games or like SimCity simulation games.
Mm-hmm.
Because really but see, I guess that's where I'm getting my mindset. Maybe it is from SimCity, where like yeah, it was like every 5 minutes or something, like a month went by, like you could set what that timing was,
Hmm.
but then like you would have to go through and do all your budgets and everything once per annum, and that was a period of time, like of real time, like 10 minutes or something like that.
Right, but you could then pause it. I mean, that was the other thing with it, is that you could do stuff like you could actually control and manipulate the time
Right.
in SimCity. Um, Whereas, like, if you're playing any of the economy games like that they have on the phone or such like that, those are all like based on how much real time is going to pass for this to.
Right, because they keep spinning.
Right, because they keep spinning. I mean, this game doesn't, so I don't know whether that makes sense or not.
Right,
Um,
like if it was a mobile game where it would stay alive on the server even when you weren't there.
right. I
Yeah.
think the question with us in this particular game is, I think we should. My inclination is to lean towards the idea of saying things are going to take a certain amount of time, and it's just going to be a set time. Um, the only other thought that I had was something that was more turn based, and then that way it would be like each turn you could do so much stuff, and then it would be more like Civilization.
And, and that's kind of cool. And when we first did the game, it worked a little bit more like that because we would set everything up and then there'd be a dig round. You remember?
Hmm.
But we sort of moved away from that because now everything kind of digs as soon as you set it up and it's on its own independent timer.
Yeah. Well, it's because you were saying start dig, and then you would just sit there and wait. That was part of the I think that was the part of the reason we were changing it, was trying to make it so that you could keep doing stuff.
Well, and I think I like the direction um, that we went with it because it changes the gameplay. So think about like having to set everything up and then let it roll and see what happens is different than what we turned the game into is more like spinning plates, right? Like keeping everything
Hmm.
rolling. And I think I like the way we went with it. I think I like this game. I think the more frenetic, like trying to keep up with everything and upgrade your stuff so that you can have a hope of keeping up
Yeah.
is more fun. Um, I think that like there's something to be said for the other gameplay, right? Like the other style of game.
Oh yeah.
But I think in an economy game like this, I think I like where we went with it. So I think we're
Okay.
more back in the place where like yeah, like 5 minutes and something happens.
Yeah.
I still like the idea of anchoring it in some kind of a time frame though, because of the way that I think about the game. Like, sure, it's 5 minutes, and for all our programming purposes, it's going to be 5 minutes. But like for the messaging that we present,
Hmm.
like you still like it would make sense to have some sort of uh,
Like
like
a give,
time
like an actual
scale.
time, right? So you're actually saying that an hour is exactly 1 month
Yeah,
every
like a
time.
scale. Yeah,
Yeah. I'll tell you, the concern that I have with that is you're not going to be able to adjust things. You're going to be tied into only one way of adjusting, because like you couldn't have an adjustment for paying stuff, like for the cost of stuff, to say, well, you have to pay every 5 minutes instead of every 10 minutes. And so then you could have it that or the price, and so those could kind of differentiate how much it ends up costing you. Gives you two knobs to twiddle instead of like one. Because really, then you, like, for example, like with the idea of paying for like the the equipment over time, like you have to say, well, every month you're going to have to pay, and so the only thing you can do is either make it cost more or cost less, versus being able to also adjust the amount of the frequency at which you have to do it. Um, plus,
okay.
plus, I don't know how long we're going to do a month. Like, how long? How long? Yeah, I'm trying to
So
think about the time scales of like what we're looking for to be happening.
so interesting thing. The backstory that we kind of came up for why this potato chip mining endeavor is happening has to do with a sped up time frame, which is sort of interesting.
Right.
because this is an entire industrialized civilization that sprung up during the period of time before a Super Bowl party.
Right.
So just just saying, like for like those elements of the game are kind of there, and I feel like I want to do it the way that you want to do it. I'm for calling it something when we communicate with the player, like so that they can think of it's easier to wrap their brains around.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So if something's due every 2 weeks instead of every month, and a month is 10 minutes, then it would come due in 5 minutes, or it would happen in 5 minutes.
Right. I gotcha. Okay. I mean, I guess
Like
that's fun.
so, it's going to cause us a little bit of a headache just because we'll have to do that translation between the commands and the the messages.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I to me, it's easier to just say how much time is left versus, hey, it's been 2 weeks
you know
because we
what?
have to know it's 2 weeks.
Since we're in the developing process, why don't we just call it the time that it is at the real world time, and we'll say like every 3 minutes this happens, every 5 minutes that happens.
Yeah. I mean, unless we can come up with a definition for what it is, and we just kind of go with that.
But maybe what it like working with what it really is will kind of educate our choice into what we want to do with it. So
Okay.
I'm cool with making it easy to program out of the gate as I think about it. Because nobody's playing it but us right now. So
But there's millions of people that are thinking about playing
I know, right? All the pre-orders.
it. All the pre-orders. Yeah. So many people. So little time. All right. So wait, let's get the claims into the player inventory. Um,
Sounds good.
yeah. So I think
So you probably want to go to the minor object, right, and just see what's happening in there.
yeah, because we got this listed as a persistence game element, and yeah. So we have inventory items. So then we would want to have um, what do we call those other ones? I think that was one of the other things that we didn't do. Is still some of the code is in here. Yeah, so that's
Oh,
a claims listing. That's right, because we did it as a claims listing. Oh, we have a mine claim. So
so what is that?
yeah. Well, I guess I was trying to figure out like, do we do this as? I'm trying to figure out if we want to do it as a mine claim or as a separate object that has more control over it. I don't know if that's necessary. So let's start with
So so
this.
so we have that claim listing and we have that claim object. Like, does it actually become the claim object? Well, the claim object is on the listing, right? Is that what that we were showing there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so the claims listing has a claim as part of it.
And I guess we're done with the price and everything. We've already paid it. It's in your bag.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So the only piece of that we still need is, well, we might still want the survey too.
No, because the survey will be done because
It'll
that
be
will actually
locked in.
that'll
Yeah.
be locked into what it is,
Yeah. Okay.
right? Because
Okay.
we actually have the claim on here with what it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think we could put it here. I'm trying to think about whether I want this to be open like we did these other ones. Just adds an extra um, problem sometimes having them separate. Or
Well,
having it so it's
how
public.
do you mean?
Having it public.
Oh, I see. Because they can get manipulated.
Yeah, directly versus, controlling its own state.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. That it gets a little weird.
Yeah, so that's what I'm not quite sure just yet, but let's go with this for right now, just to see what we actually need. All right, so if this is going to be the case, then we should be able to leave that like that. So now the question becomes, is the buy. So now we have the buy claim command. How do we do the buying command or the buy command?
You mean, how do we? What part of it? You talking about like what needs to happen with all the object state,
Yeah,
or are you talking? Okay, so we got to take money out of your tokens, and we got to put a claim in your claims list,
yeah.
but only if you have enough money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple checks to make sure it's allowed. I think it's just probably enough money, right?
Yeah, I think that would be the only real check. I think the part I was trying to. All right, so but we're getting the game state in here, right? So if we do the buy claim, and we have this as a game state, maybe command. We do that. Um, that gives us access to the miner.
Right. So we can manipulate the their like claim wallet.
Yeah. So we would. Um, this actually has the listing as part of it. Do we need that? I think we just.
Well, because that we were kind
Yeah.
of gonna use that as well. Doesn't it have the ID on it, or
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is that the
okay? That's what I was stuck on too. I was like, well, I think it has the ID, and so we need it.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out how to get to this point, right? So we're gonna have the command coming in, and we have the ID. But see, oh,
Well,
and
we
this
have
is
the
the whole
whole.
listings right there. So yeah, so we could actually do. Well, we still need the ID, right, to know which one it is that we're dealing with. So we would need to get the listing from the claims list, right? So
Right. Well, we have to check and see if there is a listing with that ID, if it's a valid ID, actually.
that is true, right? Yeah. So let's check. We'll do that first as our guard. So we'll say if the game state. No, no.
No, it's the listings, right?
Yeah. Um, I
Uh,
think we want to do this, and then this way we can do. So we don't have that just yet.
so we're going to put that on to the listings that has
Yeah,
ID. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so that code won't have to be in here.
Right. So then that way we can make it something that's kind of normalized in it, right?
Hmm.
We could even just do instead of that maybe do a get by ID.
And then return something or throw something from here, or
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to think about that. I don't want to throw. Maybe we leave it as it has.
yeah, because that seems like you're kind of like not misusing, but sort of backdooring a feature onto that get by
Yeah,
ID. And I feel like it's better to not sort of hide the functionality like that.
yeah. So we can do that, but we still need to have it, right? So I'm going to do that instead of where we're doing where we get all of them and do this whole thing. We'll just do it where it's get it by the. We'll say get by ID. We'll take the int.
Yeah, theoretically, you could even do this with like a first, like you've been doing, so it would throw on a null.
Yeah. Oh, what? All right. So now we have the ability to get those. So then we want to if command listing. All right. So this is if it doesn't actually.
Right. So there's a throw the not on there.
Yeah. Then we can. There's actually a way that we have of handling that, right? Um,
Well, you probably,
we do this return.
yeah, there's like a loop back kind of deal. Yeah, we don't carry this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, but we're just doing it. Okay, so this we actually did. This was the way it was kind of done before, and we copied these over there versus being done right in the handle. That's why this is set up this way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think so. We were okay. We could do it that way with this message here, right? So we can just put it in here. We can say um, listing ID is unavailable, and then we just gotta make sure we put the return in there. Otherwise, we'll get some weirdness there. So now that we check that we have it, then we can get the listing.
Correct. Yes.
All right. So we bring this in. Now we need to check the price of the listing if the miner has it available, right?
Right.
Maybe we'll just do make that part of this. So
Just go pull it out.
yeah, just to make life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So we can, because we want to be able to say
Tokens, isn't it? Data tokens.
I gotcha. Right. So we're actually
It's going to be like a greater than equal to, right?
yeah. I was thinking about whether we needed to we should have something that we ask the miner if they have enough money for it. I mean, right now we only have one form of payment.
Currency.
Yeah. We'll kind of come back to it, I guess. Actually, we want to say.
Actually, we probably want to deal with this in the negative. Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we're going to say you only have such and such, or you can tell them how much they're short pretty easily.
We can.
Through the miracle of mathematics. Get back to the mines.
Do we call them tater tokens? I think we just say tokens.
We can call them whatever we want. We are the architects.
What the heck is it trying to do to me?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know. It keeps popping that in there, though.
When good IntelliSense goes bad.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right. Well, it might be because I can't actually do the functionality in there.
It won't process the actual math.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have, but I guess not.
Oh shoot, that's a
Short is a reserve
word.
word.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no kidding. Just trying to come up with what the heck I was going to call it. Then we need to make sure we return that. Otherwise, it'll let you still buy it. All right, so now we have enough money. Now we actually need to do the actual processing, right? So now we're going to actually have to remove the item from inventory of the claims.
We remove it from the claims office. We add it to the claims, the minor claims, and we remove the money from the game. Just destroy the money.
Yeah, so we're going to go to the listings and say remove the listing ID. Then we need to do we have anything to actually take the money out, or do we just actually just change it?
I believe we just change it. We just change the value, which is probably not the best way. I would like to have a little space in there at some point to do a little something if we needed to.
Yeah. And then also...
Is that remove going to work just with that ID like that?
Yep. It's not a list. Remember, this is an object we created.
Ah, yes. Yes, that's right.
So the listing doesn't have a way for us to actually get the claim off of it. So we want to remove the listing, but I think we have to go to that. Let's jump over here.
That's surprising. I thought is that like private?
I think it is. Yeah, so we did it private. I think so. In part of my thought process behind it was we had the question of, is the claim, does it exist before they buy it or before they survey it? Like at the moment, I think it does. It exists.
Right, because we're kind of creating it and putting in that list.
Yeah. I think let's get it like this so we can just we'll get it versus using the property for it. I feel like we're going to need to invalidate this is kind of what I'm thinking.
Can you elaborate?
So once this claim is taken off of here, this listing should no longer be valid. So we shouldn't be able to get the claim off of it again. It's more of a kind of a security piece to it. Like I feel like in here we should actually do something that says, claim, retrieved. Oh, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't get rid of it. Maybe we actually contain the lease. Or contain this because we have this pricing that we actually need to maintain about the claim.
That's true. So we could just pass it along.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought of that as I was looking at this. I'm like, I think this might end up being...
Is there like an inheritance opportunity here?
No.
No, because I'm trying to think if that lease is going to behave the same way that it is when we're trying to buy it. because it's going to have the same properties, but I feel like it's not going to. It's going to have a bunch of other stuff.
You mean the claim listing?
Yeah,
That we
like
should
if
actually have like a claim lease.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's what I was saying. Like maybe it can be a type of claim listing because it's
Nah,
going to
you
have.
keep in mind you want to avoid inheritance. Inheritance is generally bad. Um, you have to really have a very strong reason for needing inheritance to go and do it, because otherwise it adds a separate level of complexity to
Well, the
the
idea
system.
would be you would want to be able to pass it using its parent class, right? But that, well,
But what is it? What part of this is it that needs to?
I guess maybe not because it won't be handling itself. Like it's not going to be the lease object itself that's going to be popping the that variable we have all your tokens in. So yeah. So maybe I'm wrong there. Because it
Yeah,
is still kind of just a listing, right? We're just going to have something else operating on it.
yeah. Well, because now we're gonna have. I'm seeing something that will be more like um, right? And so then on here we'll actually have the price, which is actually good to have this separate because we're probably going to have a frequency, right?
Right.
We'll just add.
So does it only start costing you once you put a digger on it? Probably not, right?
I,
It costs you in the bag, even
I
when you have it in your list.
yeah, we learned that, right? We had to start paying rent as soon as we got the place,
Yes, we did learn that.
right? So in my thought seems to indicate that it would make sense to. So then here we could actually have get lease.
I was wondering if, like, in the claims office, that might be the place where you're going to put a command to see all of your. Well, I guess you're just going to do it from your bag, so to speak.
I would think so. That would be my initial thought, is that you would have that, unless they just maintain
Unless,
them.
yeah, like if you were ever going to be at like a multiplayer game, or even if you were going to like pretend like there were other players in the games, you could actually see leases coming due that you might be able to get soon, like the other players have, so you could look at the lease list. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
for now though, I think it should just be on the miner.
Okay.
That's
Right.
a kind of a half-baked idea to think about a little.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely worth thinking about. All right. So. Oh, all right. And then I think I'm going to take frequency out for right now since we're not going to be using it.
Yeah, that makes sense. We can add it.
Yep. And then this will now return. Oop. I didn't even see what that said, but that looked weird.
Yeah, it said like IDS return.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck that was supposed to be. Yeah, so maybe this is what we actually maintain on the miner instead, right? So we'll have claim leases versus claims.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. It's not.
What's going on there?
I need to move these out of here.
Ew.
So
Yeah.
let me just let me do this now. Just a little housekeeping here. Yeah, okay. Because what I'm running into is that this shouldn't really be here. These should. Oh, what did I just do? Nothing like having a computer run just a little too slow. Let's do this, then do that. Spin, 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 spin. Then I can do sync namespace with folders. Cool. So now in the miner, this will get to the right one. All right, good. So now in our buy command for this, nope, not buy claim command. We need get these. And we remove that, and then just need a message for it. Just do purchase complete. I want to have something. I want to present this here somewhere. So I guess we just leave it like that.
It's kind of a long method. A lot going on in there.
Actually,
still does one thing, but
there's only 2 guards. It's because there's 2 guards. This isn't
Yeah.
nearly as bad as some of the other commands that we have.
Oh no, that's definitely the truth.
This is really the only thing that we're doing is this piece here. The rest of this is guarding information. So we don't need that. We might be able to kind of limit this where we can say so I wanted to actually know his listings. So instead of having to have this, we can shorten up the code.
Yeah. You can probably instantiate the miner down there too, because you're not using it until after that first guard passes.
I can move. I know. You know what? I'd rather have it up here, only because
So
then you know it's there. It's kind of like
it's like the declarative section of code, sort of.
Yeah, that's kind of.
It's a little old school, but yeah.
I know. I know. Typically, you want to have where you instantiate stuff closer to where it's being done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess technically we could move this down here.
I was kind of looking at that. I was like, I think we can still put it all together and just have it after that first guard, because it actually does make it easier to read when you can see where you're creating those variables, like right next to where you use them. And if you start adding other pieces of code in there too, it's just going to drift farther away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It looks weird though. Us old graybeards are used to having like just that sort of like declarative header almost.
Well, especially because this is just renaming of stuff versus doing the entire, you know, chain to it. So that's kind of the the reasoning for me was that it's like this is just these are just setups. These are not
Yeah.
like
It doesn't change anything with the readability argument, though. It really doesn't. Like as we think about it, just having
yeah,
the discussion here, giving something to gotta get it on the stream here, right?
yeah.
That's what we're supposed to be talking
I'll
about.
tell you my biggest concern about it is the fact that we actually have two guard statements like this. That's split by this versus nice guard, 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 and done. Right?
Well, because you have a logic fork depending on which guard you fail.
Yeah. No, I understand. That's part of why I don't like it. I'm trying to figure out how to fix that, how to rework this so that that's not the case. So we can have them nice and tight at the top.
Hmm.
But I don't think there's a clean way of doing it. At least at the moment that I can't think of. I mean, yeah. So
Now you got me thinking about it. Like,
yeah,
pull that
right.
together.
It's all right.
Little puzzle.
But so then this should work. Let's do this. I know we went through and wrote all this code here. What we should have been doing was writing our tests for it. Um, let's do.
Right,
Let's try
because
putting
then
it
we.
in there. What's that?
Well, no, because it would have been. This was definitely test drivenable.
Yeah. Well, we might be able to find problems with it just by doing this. So. Um, all right. Let's just make sure that this is working. So we'll just set up our nothing one just to make sure that it happens. Hey, it's green. All right. I think what we want to do first, let's do our first failing case,
Okay.
and we'll do that as the which one was it? That was the inventory ID doesn't exist. Let's just
Right.
say term message. There we go. So that's what we wanted to do. Let's get our command newed up. So new by claim. Oh, this is just the command. I guess that makes sense because I was thinking handler when I typed it, but I actually typed in the right thing.
Hmm.
What?
Yeah. I'm just thinking about the game, just stuff. I don't want to distract you, so I'm actually being quiet over here. So you need to just kind of pull this in. Why is that not showing up?
Oh, because it's still in the wrong spot.
Oh, did you not pull that out?
I don't think so. I thought I did, but I did not. So I'm gonna move it, and then. Alright, so that should be good. So now we should be able to have. Good. So now we have the claims listing. I need to then actually add a new claims listing. Oop. So now to do a new mine claim. All right, good. And then we need a price. I guess it doesn't really matter, so we'll just do 1, 2. Then we'll do survey results dot no survey. I think that's fine. All right, so at least we get one in there. We should have one that's now going to have an ID of 1.
Right.
So now we should be able to do.
Yeah, so the idea here is that we're basically spoofing these objects and filling them up with test data so that we can run tests against the code.
Yes.
So now we have a listing in there. It's got an ID. We're going to try and pull it out by ID, and we should get our error. So that's what he's building.
Yeah.
So I guess you're going to give it a bad ID, right?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a bad idea. I just want to have. Oh yeah, so that's right. So this is
So
not even what I want here.
yeah, you actually want to put like 2 or 3 or something. Yeah. So we wanted to add an ID there that won't be found in the list because we were testing the unhappy path.
Right. Shoot, I forgot how we do the testing on the other stuff. Yeah, this is what we're looking for.
Okay.
I couldn't remember how we did it. I knew we had done like this, set up a helper for it. So, ooh, what is proc?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, it's the main process. Oh, shoot. I'm going to need to do all of this. At least this.
Yeah, because that's all like the guts of the game. That all needs to be there because you use all that, right?
Yeah. It's so silly that I'm so. There's parts of me with that game state that just something seems weird to me for it.
The way we keep getting forced into using it in ways we don't like, right? That's a smell in itself.
Yep.
It's what. How come every time we touch the game state we go?
Yeah.
Because it's this giant wad of stuff you just have to carry around everywhere, and like we've been doing this long enough to know that that's just not good.
Yeah, it's gonna come back to bite us at some point. Probably actually has already bit us and we've just forgotten.
It's honestly it may have pushed us into other directions we haven't wanted to do because it comes up periodically.
Yeah, oh, that's what I was looking for.
Every 3 hours of coding or so, we have to talk about the game state. Now, I wish we didn't have to bring it in with us.
All right, that'll at least get us that. So this should at least be somewhat good. So now the only other thing that we're missing here is that on the command we need the game state. Gonna be green? No.
Well, that invalid quantity is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
What are we getting as our message? Oh,
We
so we're getting the right thing. All right, good.
So you just got to put that in the should be.
Yeah. I feel like I.
She wish you could pass it that even.
What's that?
I don't know what that message is. Like, since we're testing it that way, you feel like you almost want to be like,
Yeah, I could have gone to the function and copied it, which is what I probably should have done. Hey, but we're green. All right. Yeah, so there was this. Then there was the next condition that we needed to address. Bring that by contain command over here. We need to check about whether they have enough money or not.
Right.
Which I believe we should be able to just go ahead and run that test. I don't know what the amount's going to be. So maybe we can just say port error message if miner does not have enough tokens. So in this case, we'll put one. I'm probably gonna name these so we can have that kind of clear. I'm gonna change this to a should start with. Purchase complete.
Your screen share stopped moving on me.
Oh. Stop moving, huh?
Yeah.
Let me try restarting it there. So it still failed. So it failed this time because it's saying that one purchase complete.
All right, I see you again, by the way.
Instead of you do not have enough tokens.
Okay. So that didn't work.
Well, it's like, did it not work, or
well, less than or equal to, and you had, what did you have? Like, what did it cost? I guess we had 0, right?
What I don't know for certain is whether the default miner starts with tokens. I'm guessing now that it does. I thought it would have started with 0.
100.
Start with 100. Which makes sense.
You need to be able to buy a couple diggers to get the game started, so.
Well, yeah. So for that, I guess we need to make this 101.
Yeah.
And that should. All right, so that gives us.
And now it's green. Cool. So that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. So. And then we need one to actually buy it and say that it exists. What?
I just did a firework for it.
Oh, it's underneath the banner ad. I guess that makes sense.
Hey, look at that.
When listing is purchased, police should move to, or lease purchase should complete. So, what I'm thinking here, ultimately, this has a message that comes out. What is that message? So
yeah, it says it's like a success message, right?
Yeah, so we're going to bring that in here. And for us, that's actually going to be a 1. This is going to fail, so we should make this, just put this back to 1. This should succeed. But we want to check, there's a couple of different conditions that we want to make sure of, right? So we want to make sure it completes successfully, but we also want to make sure that the listing is no longer available.
Right.
So,
and also that it goes to the miner, right? That it ends up in the miner's bag.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that this count should be 0. And then the minor, this should be,
It should be, what, 99?
yeah, I don't like that static value in there. I'm gonna think about how we're gonna do that. I think what I might do is, for
Maybe
right
you
now,
could just set it. Just set the minor.
I could. Yeah, I guess I just can't, right? Because here it's not that there's nothing stopping me from that.
Yeah, so just set minor token to whatever, 1.
All right.
And check it for 0, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really get you away from it, just kind of moves the problem, but
yeah, I'm trying to think about where I want to put that problem. That's what I'm trying to think of. All right, so this should actually give us. So that's a good sign.
yeah, kept passing.
I'm wondering if we should. Let's do this. So then I can actually do. I'll do that. So that should actually will tell us that we're actually getting the exact same one out of that lease, which is good because that's what we wanted to do.
How does that test the quality?
What do you mean?
Like that should be for an object like that?
It's checking.
It just works.
It's checking behavior, right? So what we're saying is on the listing, the mine claim that we have should be the same mine claim that we're getting on the lease. So it's just validating that the claim that is pushed across is the correct one.
Right. I was just wondering how it knows, right? Like just count, and maybe you don't have the answer. I was just curious, like if it checks to see that all the properties and methods match, or if it actually fires things, or
no.
what the equitate, whatever that word is, what the equality test is.
Yeah, so this is actually checking that the memory address that this points to is the same as this one.
Okay, perfect. So it's literally the same object.
Yes, it's an exact object, the exact same object, right? Because if I created a new one here, I could create a new one called claim 2 equals new mine claim, and that should really be the same value, right? Ultimately, they are the exact same. Here, if I put this should fail because of, well, this will fail because of that, but this should fail because this object type is different. Now, we could actually change that if we wanted that behavior of this, if we created this as a value type and defined our own equality. That we could then, you could actually do it where it could be based on its values, right? If a mine claim doesn't have its own ID, where it would be an entity, so each one really is its own, but you're actually going to check for equality based on the ID. It's like if the IDs are the same, it's the same. In the case of value objects, it's like the contents of it are what define whether they're the same or not. Like, so we could have these two, but we want them to be equivalent.
Yeah, we do want them to be equivalent because really it's just a definition.
It's just a definition. It's very straightforward. There's nothing special about it.
Right. And then the one you uses the actual memory address to see if it's literally the bits.
Right. That's why you can see here, like I can't point at it at the same time, but you can see that under the should be, it gives you the memory address over there to the right of it. And then the next one says, but was mine claiming it has a different memory address.
Yep, and that's what you're seeing in the parentheses down there in the box.
Yes. Yeah. I can't move the cursor to it because it disappears as soon as I get off of it.
Right. I wish
But
I
yeah.
could use mine. We could work together on it. But yeah, okay, cool. So thanks for indulging me on that question. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's a very good question because of the fact
yeah,
that
because it's the Shoodly, right? It's sort of a black box if you don't know. It's like I don't. Okay, how does it work? So
yeah.
cool.
Oh
Thank
well,
you.
keep in mind that's how C# works across the board. This is nothing special.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you use the dot equals, right? The built-in.
Yeah, or if you just do an equals, right? If you would get the same result if you were doing. So if we put in this here, right, and I wanted to do something like,
Oh, right, like just the double equal, whatever.
yeah, let me do this. Yeah, true. Right. This should fail also because of the fact that this equality operator is basically checking memory addresses, right? It's saying, is this the physically in memory the same spot, right? And what it actually is doing is it's a pointer, so it's the claim and claim 2 are pointing to two different claims.
Right.
But if I said, hey, I want to have this actually point to the first claim, now they will both point to this one, and you'll get a true, right? So it'll come back positive because they're
Right.
technically pointing at this nude object here. They're both pointing to that same one. And where they get put depends on whether it's immutable or not. Then it either goes on the heap or it goes on the stack. And so then it's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Right. So the language by default then does its comparisons by reference.
By reference. Yeah. So, and that's why, I mean, C# provides you the capability to change that behavior on the classes that you want. There's a couple of good libraries out there for doing it that will automatically do a bunch of the stuff for you, that make it a little bit easier, but it gets tricky. But with the helper libraries, it makes it easier to do it because there's actually really good reasons to actually have operators or quality checks that are based on the contents of the class and not the memory address of the class or the object. Sorry, got that mixed up. Yeah, well, class and objects, different stuff. So, all right, so that should be good. I think what I did want to do here was,
If you look at the stream right now, that little yellow light bulb is right over your head. Like that comes up in the margin.
Yeah.
The little refactor light bulb, like it's a screwdriver now, but when it comes up, it's the light bulb. It was like,
yeah.
It just looks super funny.
I know. I was trying to see if I could make it a light bulb. It's like, nope, I can't get it to happen again. Come on. I want a light bulb. Oh, no, I guess I can't do it with that.
I gotta break something.
Yeah, right. I think what I want to do is I want to change this around just so that this reads clear. Same thing with like this here. So let's put a constant up here, and we'll just do a constant of minor tokens, and we'll just set that equal to 10. Oh, I guess it would help if I told it what the type was. And then here we can actually set that.
Right, just a minor token.
Yeah.
So that gives you like your little declarative section up top there still too.
Well, it gives us that, but then we actually have this name now that we can use down here. So
yeah, so you can change it at the top and it'll change it wherever else you use it.
Right, so we can just kind of say, we want this to be a little bit more than what the minor tokens are, right?
Yep.
And then here we can actually do minor tokens minus, and that's why I was we could do something like, we do claim.
Right, because it makes it more of an abstract type concept within the class here, as opposed to sticking 10 in everywhere.
Yeah. Oh.
Then
I can just put up here.
Still doesn't like clean. Oh, because you're doing it there.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet. There we go. Yeah. So then this way you can see it should be the miner tokens minus the claim price, and then that, to me, the other part that's nice about this also is that if you were to, let's say we broke something in here, let's do, we'll do -1 more. Right. So now that's going to change the way that this code operates. This should then now fail because the money is different.
Right.
Oh, so I expected this to work differently. Maybe. There's. So. There's actually something else. I missed it because it has the minus in there, it doesn't do it. But I think if you actually take this and you do. No, I don't want a local function. Goodness gracious. Let's just say we do for the tokens minus price, right? And then if I put in, if I do that, when this fails, see, I'm surprised it's not doing this the way I expected it to.
So what are you expecting to see?
I expected to see in here should be tokens minus price.
Oh, but you're seeing the actual calculated value.
Yeah, the calculated value. Huh. Well, maybe I was wrong. I thought this was. I thought it did that. And I know it does. It does the one for the beginning, right? So it says it should be on this, but it doesn't do the next part. Should probably fix this. All right, so now we have these tests in place here to make sure that this is all hunky-dory.
It's all staying green, so.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah, so now we've got the buying. We can buy the claim. The claim gets put into the miner's inventory, into its lease inventory. We should. I think the next piece. What was the next piece? That's why I wrote it down because I don't want to forget. Right. So we got the claim storage. We need to update the equip digger function because we need to be able to take 2 parameters.
Right. Well, 1 or 2 parameters, right? Because we didn't want to just throw away the other way it worked, right? Where it asked you for the other one. Or no?
Yeah, we do. I think we just need to have it where it can
accept 2 and know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Because it just discards the second one now and asks you anyway.
Well, this doesn't take any parameters.
Well, the command has a parameters list on it, doesn't it?
It does. Well, it has it here, right? So it has this digger name. It's not working yet. Because remember, this is what we were talking about. We had this thing that we needed to see. So we don't actually use this anywhere. I think it's used in one spot. We added it here, so it brings it in. If it has it, because remember we were adding the abbreviation. We were trying to make this fetch, but we don't actually use it. So this digger name is applied, but in here we need to actually do something with it. So we could actually do that. Need to invert this. Let's invert that if. We'll return on that, and we don't need this. Um, but we would actually want to say if command dot digger name, let's say if that's the case, then we want to do this. And then otherwise, what we actually want to do is the process of equipping a digger, which is in this scene. This is this I remember now kind of what was holding us back from it was in this portion.
Yeah, the
Um,
scene thing is weird.
well, it's so the concern was that we have this this whole piece here that's actually part of the the scene versus it being done through something else. Um, and I wasn't sure where to go with it when we were talking about it. Because I mean, the other option is we just copy this, and we do it in both spots, right? But maybe we can reorder this to make that make more sense.
I mean, yeah, we could just do it in both spots.
I mean, I'm not saying that we should. I just at the moment I don't. I'm not sure what we should do for it. I feel like it should be on this object. Honestly, was what I was thinking, and it would return some result that we can then report out what happened, or something along those lines, right?
Right.
Hmm. Command. See, so this should probably happen up here.
Right, because it's not dependent on any of that.
Yeah, this is building a standard digger. This builds the mine claim. We could even, just to make that, just inline that temp. Um, yeah, so if we do something like, I think we could take, let's just, as bad as it is, I think,
It's not the worst thing in the world, really. I mean, it works. I don't.
yeah,
What else are you gonna do? Like, kind of would have to rework the whole thing, which maybe we'll do, but
yeah.
it's a fight for another day.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was thinking, is that it's like, let's put it in here, and then we'll,
Yeah, we got something that works, right? So we can play
yeah,
around with the gameplay a little bit, see how it actually works out.
yeah. And this doesn't, this can just be, actually, I guess I should probably do this the same way we were doing it in the other one. I wasn't thinking about it. Should probably take this and do it over here too. This will take it from the, um, yeah. Oh yeah, so we don't even need this command here, because we have the digger. I think this should work. Let's try seeing if that'll actually do the trick for us, because that'll now let us be able to do the name or the do it on the command line, or do it as a separate scene. It sits as a modal.
All right.
So I need to go to the store. We'll buy. All right, so we got the diggers. Now I go to the control room. Now I should be able to do like equip Sam. Hey, I should be able to do that and then type in P. All right.
So
Now the only
cool.
thing that's going to be weird, right? If I was to try to do something like John Mead, I only get John.
Because it lops it off.
Yeah, well, it's because space is our parameter differentiator.
Yes. Yep.
So
So
we
yeah,
can,
it takes that. That's taken as a third parameter.
yeah, exactly. So it doesn't really end up working where we need that logic that tries to stitch it back together with dashes. Because as I'm thinking about this too, I don't know. So I'm trying to think about how we would actually equip this, right? So at the moment we've got. Um, I guess I'm trying to think of how we would do the mine claim, right? So right now we have a thing here that builds a new one, which is just random.
Right.
So I'm thinking like,
So, but once you have the output of that, you can just stick it in there. Just because we're doing a random there
right.
doesn't mean we can't build it from a listing.
Well, from the lease. So the question really will become, I think for us is going to be, what are we going to do for um, getting this in here, right? Because maybe we need to have something that shows the inventory of what claims we have leases for.
Right. So it kind of pops it open and says, which one of these do you want to apply?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to do it that way. I don't think we're going to be able to accept it as a third parameter on this command string unless we come up with a way of identifying the sites. Once we come up with a way of identifying the sites.
Well, that's okay. So, all right. So we'll have to open up we'll pop open that listing that we created on the miner then.
Yes, yeah. So that means we can't really even do this. What we might be able to do is maybe set the scene. I was trying to think like, so we're doing this thing where we're putting the scene in here. I was wondering if we could add it to the scene. Um,
Probably.
yeah, so we want to be able to say, um, yes, I feel like we should be able to do it as like, maybe even a part of this, right? So we can actually take this in. So we can take in a string. We'll say, we'll bring in a digger name, and then we'll bring it to a field initializer. So we'll have it there.
Okay. All right.
Right. So then, what's that?
No, I yawned. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So then over here, we don't need this until... I don't like that. All right, I want to eliminate that. I don't think we should have to do it that way. I think what we will want to do is, we'll take it like this, and then we'll create another one that'll let us do.
So you don't have to push that empty.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I'm going to add another constructor over here that will just take game state. And then I can just have it called this. So we can define what that's going to be, right? So this will now let us basically chain this, right? So it'll come in here, then it'll call down here, and then update the base.
Right. So we're going to overload the constructor so that the consumer doesn't need to know what's going on with that. They can just call with or without.
So one of the weird parts about how this does work, right? We're going to need to actually have a thing in here to identify whether we set a name or not. So what we'll just do we'll do a private for right now and say has set name. Trying to so has set.
Okay.
What?
No. So we have.
Well, let me get this to. I think I can get this to work at least. Because if they've set the name.
If they set the name, then you would continue to the next step.
Yeah, well, so this only has one step right now, and that's part of it. So we actually have to give it a second step. Right. So we need to, when we come into this handle input, if they've already set the, I think that's where we're at here. So I think. They've already set the name. So if has set name, not has set name. I'm just trying to get this working as it is without the changing the claim. So this should work.
That's going to work the old way still.
Yeah, that's
as far as the gameplay goes.
Yeah. So here's where the problem I'm running into, or what I'm just feeling like I'm beating my head against at the moment, is the handle input basically is where we're going to, when we type in something, right? So if we come in here from this path, we'll have the prompt set to enter digger name and then push the scene on. Then the scene is expecting the next thing to happen. We're going to get a value. We're going to get something here, right?
Mhm.
And so in that case, the name has not been set, and it needs to do this. But
Right.
maybe this doesn't have to happen. But see, there's nothing that has to happen the next time. That's kind of where I'm like the handle input doesn't happen. We actually have to do something in our update loop. So I think if we have to do something like if has set name, then we'll just create a private here. We'll just do equip digger. Oh, how did that get in there? Nope. Right. So then we can take this here. Put that down here. And then here we just need the digger name. Right? So that would let us boop, 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 put that there. Then here we can do the equip digger. Oh, shoot. I guess I could.
Is that just because that's out of scope?
Yeah. Yeah, because this is inside the if here for has set name. So I think that will work. Then we'll just have to do this here. And instead this will take it from that. Oh, you know what? I just switched it to use the property. I gotta make it not read only though.
Oh.
So then we can set that. Then I don't even need this, honestly.
Yeah, because you just use the property.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that.
Because you don't have to pass it, right? Because you'll just have access to it within
Yeah.
that private.
Yep. So it'll just be part of it. So that happens. Then that means over here I don't need to duplicate this. I just need to add the name to it. So that should actually work now. Right? So this is, and this doesn't include any of the stuff yet for doing the claim, but now that we've restructured this will let us put it in on the top, and it'll still go to that scene change, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the intention is, or the expectation is, it's going to come into here. It's going to hit our update loop. Has set name is going to be true. Oh, I didn't put the part that makes it true though. Right, so I guess the question is, do we do this with the empty, or do I just do a base? I think I'm going to try it this way, because then this means it's coming in, or the expectation is this is a value. And so then we can do...
Okay. Okay.
Because this won't even come in here. All right. And this, what I'm hoping here is that what we've just done is carved out a space for us to actually put in the logic to be able to get the list of leases available. So we can say equip Sam. We get Sam, do equip, do Pete.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's working.
Look, the name already exists. Worked.
Yeah, and it got
So
the message up there too. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look how great this one is. You got rich density with soft hardness. Figures. All right.
I don't have any diggers in the inventory, so that came up. Good, it came up regardless. That's good. So now this is working really good. So now we've got that piece in there. What we need to have happen is we're going to need to have that. We're going to need to have a thing to see whether an option's turned on. Do we do that right now, or do we just put this in there so it makes it do it?
So the option is what? If we
Do we want to have it so that we can have it skip doing
I see.
yeah, skip doing something. I feel like
I think we should put the space in there so that we could do it both ways because we were talking about it.
yeah, I think we definitely need to be able to do it both ways, right? So I think
I mean, even if it's a matter of commenting out the codes, we can make it work. You know what I mean? And just make it just work one way and then go back and wrap some ifs around it and figure it out later.
Yeah, what I wanted to try to find was where we did this, where we've done this already. Where we had the multi-step process that had to happen. It was in. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I want to look in here. So this was the digging. Was the repair?
That had a couple because that gave you like a bid, right? And you could take it or not.
Yeah, it says if prompted.
So what's that's prompted? Is that when you say no?
No, you see here. See, it says if
Oh,
prompted.
gotcha. So it only sets it to once. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it sets it to once, and that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Right, because of the update. Okay, I see how that's all put together.
Yeah, I think what we need to do for our one here that we're working on by command. No, here the equip. That's where. All right, so handle input is like has set name would let it skip this portion. Then we want to if this is where I was kind of why I was thinking that maybe we need to have something else in here. Maybe we'll just set it up here for right now, and we'll come up
Well,
with
we
another.
just throw like a const up at the top.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
So we can use it like a switch.
Yeah. So we'll say claims office, or let's just say claims available. False. Lowercase, so copy that. Yeah, so then we say if that is true and maybe just do it in one loop. So then here, so that would still have that happen, but in here we would do something. We're going to turn it back. So we may actually have to do. Oh, does this?
So this is where we would pop open the list, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we'd have to have something like show claims. And then
kind of wait, like, you know,
yeah.
prompt and wait.
We'll do something like enter claim ID. Right, so maybe I'll make this and we'll just put something. Where'd it go?
You have to write the list out, I mean?
Yeah.
What are you trying to get to, man?
No, it's just trying to create it here. So then I can do game.write. Claim details. So I think so that's gonna be false, so it should just kind of do it. Just want to make sure it does. All right, so yeah, that. All right, so that worked. Oh, I should have bought two. Um,
Hmm.
no,
All right,
that's
because
what I
you already
wanted.
have built.
Yeah,
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 they
yeah.
have
I
built.
wanted to do that on purpose, right? I was trying some of the failure conditions. So Sam should give us one. Now, if I do one, you don't have any diggers in your
It's not.
inventory, so that's good. So that ended up giving us the same result. Um, what we should be able to do next then, if claims is available, then we have to also say we need to have something here that says private pool has selected claim. So then we can say if has selected claim. Let's do the opposite. Let's say, oh, this needs to be. That should be there. This we don't want to end this actually because now we're saying they have selected something.
Mm-hmm.
Then we just need to check test selected claim. So then we can say if valid claim selected. Actually, I want the inverse of that, right? Because if
That's going to be the return.
yeah, because then we're going to want to kind of basically do this. With some other message probably that we add to the end of it. That says And then otherwise, we're actually going to be popping out the claim here. So
Yeah, we'll be building the claim,
yeah.
and then we'll get back to the equipment process.
So I think what we actually want to do is take this and put this here.
Oh, it's getting late, John.
Oh, it is. I add the parameter to it, so then this then becomes that, right? So this will actually let us, this by putting this here, we can now maybe we can actually do it so we can put it like this is an else. And then otherwise we're going to equip digger with mine claims. All right, so I think if we do something like this, this will kind of give us that result. I would like this.
Still got to get that mine claim from Reese, and then we have to put those functions in.
Oh yeah, all
right?
this stuff needs to be done. This is just some pseudocode for it, right? Because we don't have anything that prints out the claims. We don't have anything that does any of this validation portion. But by having this has kind of shown me what the next set of stuff that we're gonna have to do, right?
Right. It's like putting down a marker.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure that what we were doing was going to actually make sense, because I was running into how do we address it as it comes in, right? Because it doesn't. We were trying to make some of this stuff easier to do in these areas, and we haven't completely gotten there yet to make it super easy to just rewrite these. So we have to do a lot of work to make it possible. This adds a little bit of complexity to it that I wasn't sure about.
Yeah, well,
if there's a better way of doing that.
I'm feeling like next week is going to be more of a reworking week. Now that we have this new feature that we've committed to kind of getting into the game, it's the path it's taken us.
Yeah. What do you mean reworking?
Like some of this stuff that where it's really clumsy that we're trying to work through here, we might be able to kind of address some of it, some of the stuff that we don't like, the way that we deal with these commands, because we're starting to trip over it more. I don't know.
I don't know yet. The piece, this is more about how do we control inputs in these things where we want to have a list of things that it needs to do, but then validate it on each one.
Right, and what you were just saying about how it should be easier. We've started to do things that will make it easier, but it's still pretty hard to put these types of big things into here, because it changes the gameplay. And
yeah, I feel like we did try to start it on some of these.
It has improved since its initial. Well, it's definitely improved since it was a console app, but even since we moved it to mono game, we've made it better.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff we've had to do so far to make it work has kind of led us. All right, now we got to take this step, and that's why I was like, maybe it's time to address some of these things that we've been kind of kicking. I don't know what it is though.
Yeah, I think we can finish this without having to do that.
The mine claims, yeah, we can get something in there and working. You mean?
Yeah. And then take a step back and look at how this has been put in here and what we might be able to do, because I think the part that I would want to rework is we need to come up with what features are turned on, right? So this would be an example of that, because that's different than items that are in the inventory.
Right, and that's sort of like the way we were. I guess we were looking at some of the achievement stuff, kind of working that way. So we were essentially turning things on, so if you've hit this achievement, then this goes into the store, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that's what this is, right? So it goes into the store. I'm seeing this as something similar, that we would actually have a claim store achievement. So, hey, you've done whatever, and now you've got the claim store, and so that will actually turn on a functionality of the game. And so I think if we can have a dictionary that we use to look it up in the rest of this game, I think would be the answer. So then that way we can, this would look at, game features of, or whatever, game features, and it says has available, and then we give it like claims office. Then this would have that portion to it.
Right.
So that's what I'm seeing as something that we need to add into here to how do we turn on functionality within the game, because this is kind of the first instance of us doing this, where we wanted to all of a sudden have, hey, we want this to happen after a certain point.
Yeah, because all we've done so far is add items to the store. So it fires, but then it's over because now it's part of the state.
Right. Yep. Which is, which we need, but this is the next iteration of that.
Right.
It was funny because I was actually playing some. I was still playing some of the WoW Classic, and it's coming across some of the quests where there's like a little bit of storyline that kind of happens where the NPC will like start doing something and they talk, and you can't like interact with them anymore until like they finish their thing. And I was thinking about what we're doing, and I was like, we're gonna have some of that kind of scripting at some point in the game that will be more like not as interactive, but like something to help make it more interesting. So
yeah, to push the story narrative along a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well, it is coming along though.
it definitely is. We're almost there with this claims office. Stuff like this just takes it takes time to get it in there. It doesn't happen immediately.
Yeah, and we're probably looking at getting it in next time.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to have it done. This show claims and what you're selecting, that's going to be a little tricky.
Well,
we'll
we
see.
have that ability to kind of write stuff to the different consoles, and we have that tabular. Like we were already writing out like the claims for the claims office, so it seems like we could probably leverage that to then look at the list of claims on the minor, because we're passing the game state all over the place, so we have it.
I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about that part of it. There's the ID selection on it though, like which one is going to have what's ID that you're going to be picking from, which is not difficult. It's just something that we're going to have to address. We could do it by index or something like that, because it is the minor itself versus some other game element.
Right. So there's not going to be anything but the minor interact. Like the player is the only thing that's going to interact with it.
Right.
Unless they can't pay the rent too long, and then they lose access to it. So.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. Who knows? Oh, that was weird.
That is weird. What happened there? You just hover something?
I clicked on the chatty. I don't know. Maybe it was something about the emotes there. So I clicked on it. Oh yeah, I guess I just clicked on it.
Speaking of emotes, it's time for the grand finale.
Yeah, so I was trying to pop some in there.
I got a bunch now. I've been clicking now. Let's bring it down. I'm gonna crash.
Oh
Twitch.
My goodness! I like the fact that it does. It actually does show up behind us now for the little.
Yeah, the fountain-looking ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there they go. Woohoo!
Yeah. Right. Here, watch. It's gonna go crazy.
Oh my.
Yes.
There we go.
That's actually kind of neat. I think we might have to put that into the. I think we should have something that's part of the ending soon, or maybe that's what we do. Maybe we add something to the ending soon phase that it'll go to one that just keeps shooting and just keeps going.
That's awesome. Yeah, right? That would be pretty cool. We should have something. Oh, we should set timers, John. So, like, you know how we're always like, oh, what time is it? Like, tonight we kind of lost track of time. You should have, like, a fireworks display go off at, like, half past the hour or something.
Yeah, right. I think that's pretty neat. Yeah, I'm glad we got that working, though. Slick.
Yeah, what do we got that not tomorrow, on Friday. We'll be working on that.
That would be awesome. Cool. All right, man. I think that is going to be it for me today. I gotta release. I gotta jump on.
All right, so I guess that's a wrap.
That is a wrap, Pete. Have a great night.
You too, sir. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Where is that list there?